Hello, this is Dr. Chuck Desjardins. I got some of my technical difficulties fixed, so I'm go ahead and back working on some of the video lectures that we have. We're in chapter 9, and we're going to talk about the discussion question that deals with surveys. And the question for this week on surveys is, using what you have learned in this week's readings, do some external research using the text and use at least 3 outside sources. And I'd like you to analyze the survey interviewing process and tell me some errors that could affect the quality of the data that you get from the survey. Some of you will be doing surveys for your research project, so I want you to consider some of the errors. I know you're not going to be able to consider all of them or make sure you have certain validities taken care of because of that, but I just want you to think about that. When I say analyze, I will use words like I want you to analyze, I want you to appraise quality of data, calculate, categorize, compare and contrast, criticize, differentiate, experiment, examine, question, test. These are all words that I could also use that have to do with Bloom's level of analysis. So think about those words as you do your discussion question. Some of the sources of error that you'll find and when you do a survey could be measurement question errors. You'll have errors that could be introduced because of the participant as well as the interviewer. So you got the measurement tool, the participant, and the interviewer. So let me talk about each of those individually. The researcher or the interview, here are some of the issues that you can have. You want to make sure that you've selected and crafted the appropriate questions and not the inappropriate questions. It's very easy to jump to an assumption if you have a management dilemma or issue or question. You create a survey that the answers themselves are actually not going to solve your problem for you. You think that by answering these you'll have a solution when really the survey should have been developed to understand what that solution will be. All right, so there's something to be very careful about. So there are some issues with the survey. Maybe the questions are asked in an inappropriate order. They're asked out of order or in an order that doesn't make sense. And one question leads into the next question, which feeds answers. Or use inappropriate transitions and instructions that elicit information, so the questions themselves may lead the person to answer in a specific manner. So those are just some of the ways you really want to watch the questions on a survey that the instrument itself could reduce error and possibly affect the quality of a survey. Now there is interviewing errors. Those are a result from interviewers' influence on the participant. It can be caused by several actions or things that take place. You can have failure to secure the full participant cooperation. Maybe that participant, you haven't built up a rapport with that participant, so you don't have their full cooperation. There could be a failure to record answers accurately and completely. You could be tired, you could be in a hurry, you could be biased, and maybe you're not listening to the participant, maybe you're not accurately recording what is said. Failure to consistently execute the interview procedure. You have a procedure for this interview and you fail to execute that procedure. Again, maybe you're tired, maybe this person you found reasons to maybe only ask some of the questions, not all the questions. Inappropriate influencing behavior. Your gestures, your mode, your verbal expressions, your tone in your voice, the way you ask the questions, the way you kind of raise your eyes when they answer a certain question. That's bias that you're adding from the interviewing process. And even your physical presence bias. A man with a woman with a man, height. There's different things within the presence, with the clothing. So many things to think about when you really are considering doing a survey or having someone give a survey. So not only the questions in the survey instrument itself, but the person who's doing the survey. And the last is the participant. What kind of errors can we get that affects the quality of a survey? There's kind of 2 ways. Whether they respond willingly and how they respond. 3 factors influence participant participation. The participant must believe that the experience will be pleasant and satisfying. If they feel the time constraint, if they feel it's not satisfying, if they're being asked questions that maybe irritate them a little or cause them anxieties, that's going to affect the answers that they give. The participant must believe that answering the survey is worthwhile. There's value. It's worth them giving their time and their energy up to you in the survey. And the participant must dismiss any mental reservation about participation. Should I really be doing this? Should I really be part of this survey? So sometimes those are things to think about when you pick your research participants. Maybe you can address some of those before you do the survey. And along that line is the motivation. When we have a decrease of motivation in the participant, maybe they're pressed for competing activities. They have other things to do. They're embarrassed or ignorant of the interview topic, so that causes them to be embarrassed. They may dislike the interview topic. They may fear there's consequences. If you're in an organization and by being part of the survey, it may not be private, so there could be consequences. Those will all have an effect on the answers you get from the participants. Their motivation toward the survey will be prestige of the research sponsor agency. Maybe the vice president wants to know these answers. Perceived importance of the topic. Maybe it's a topic they're really interested in. You'll have more participation in that manner. They like or they have compassion for the interviewer. They like you, they feel sorry for you, they may know you personally. Some of the reasons that will motivate someone to take the survey, but it may still bias the survey. So there's a lot of things to really consider, not only as you do your survey, but as you hear people say, the survey says, we surveyed 1,300 people and this is the response we have. Well, again, there's a lot of questions to ask about that survey, the instrument itself, the person who did the research, and the participant themselves. How was all that addressed in the results of the survey? So that's part of this question. Look for that in maybe a survey that you can find out there. Analyze that survey and its discussed in question. Thank you very much.